Well, hello everyone! How are you? It has been a while. As you can see, I'm back. I've been on the West Coast for many months. I've been traveling around actually this entire year. And I was only briefly back in Maryland for the other series that I did, the first VoteMD.info, part 1. So now it's time to talk about the general election that's coming up in November. And I'm just going to talk a lot about my politics and what I feel about how I feel about the government. I'm a registered Democrat in Baltimore City, but it's just the title, I guess. I'm not a really big fan of this Democrat versus Republican war. It's not like not like sports teams to me, like it is for some people. Anyway, as you can see, I'm wearing the red, white, and blue because this is the Star-Spangled weekend here in Baltimore. It's Sunday now. It's the 14th. Yesterday we had some awesome fireworks. So this came in the mail for my father. My father lives in Baltimore County, and obviously he's in his 60s, and he's also a registered Democrat. And this is from the Democrats, the Maryland Democratic Party, but it is just ripping on Larry Hogan, who's running as a Republican for governor. And it's obviously, it talks about the schools, $300 million in corporate tax giveaways. Republican Larry Hogan says we need to eliminate the Department of Education. I actually agree with that. I mean, it's ridiculous. What do they do there? They just sit all day, pick their noses, and get pensions. They're worthless. It's a welfare program. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of bureaucrats we have dealing with education who do nothing, who say they care about children, but they care about their pensions is what they care about. But getting off of that subject, though, my point in sharing this is that this election is I would think that the Democrats have just a great shot, that it's not even a contest. And I think some of the polls say it's about a 15% difference. I don't know. But to start out with such a negative, I mean, they're attacking Larry Hogan on TV and getting a voter like my father. So obviously, this is a little bit closer than people think it is. And I'm not saying that Larry Hogan's good. I don't even know who the heck, hardly who this guy is, really. And they're attacking him, which just shows you there's something going on here. So Brown is obviously going to kick butt in Baltimore City and in Prince George's County. So they're a little worried about white older guys in Baltimore County and maybe some of the other suburbs that are registered Democrats. To send this out to a Democrat in his 60s who lives in Baltimore County just shows you that there's some worry on their part. And again, on TV, there's negative. I mean, they're kind of getting Larry Hogan's name out there. When I mean, again, I didn't really know who he was exactly. I still am a little confused. His dad, Larry Hogan's dad, was actually a politician, so he's not exactly an outsider. And I'm not exactly a Larry Hogan fan, but again, if the guy's really going to cut spending, I mean, guys, it's BS. You know, using kids in the public school system, that someone's against it as something that's a negative. No, it's actually a positive to be against the way the public school system is set up. Because let me ask you an honest question. Some of the citizens in Baltimore City, I mean, why don't you send your kids to Baltimore City schools? Why don't the people who actually live in Baltimore City, they don't want to even send their kids to Baltimore City schools. The poor people, I mean, they have their aunts and their cousins in Baltimore County. They pretend they live there so their kids can go to Pikesville and Owings Mills and stuff. And I have literally seen kids from the city, you know, getting on the subway so they can go to Owings Mills, Newtown and stuff because their sister lives out there or whatever. They got some, I mean, I don't blame them, okay? Seriously, let's be honest about, I mean, I know people who teach at Baltimore City Public Schools and they're friends of mine, they're good people and everything. But their schools are horrifying. I mean, in terms of the children that go there, these kids, this is a sad thing what I'm about to say, but many of the kids have been molested. I mean, do you want your kid to go to a school with a kid who's been molested? In all honesty, because your kid will be molested by the kid eventually. I mean, it's sickening. I know, it's sad to put it this way, but there are, you know, in the news lately we've been hearing about women being beaten, about children being beaten. It all starts out when you're a child. If you're abused as a child, you become a wreck as a human being. And in Baltimore City, there's a lot of wrecks out there, okay? And it's a never-ending, horrifying cycle, and it definitely affects the school system, the people who go to the schools, kids who go to the school system. It's very sad. And when the school system has become nothing more than a place for bureaucrats to get their pensions, and then you have some of the most disturbed children in the country in this school system, it is a nightmare. And you know, I know a lot of people were really happy that Baltimore City is going to get $1 billion to build new schools. Build new schools? How's that going to solve anything? It's just going to get a bunch of contractors rich and maintain this horrifying system where these people just get their pensions and just are just taking advantage of the children. So it's not for the children. The children are just pawns. And they're pawns that are totally messed up individuals. So many of them become just horrifying people. And there has to be a way to intervene. I mean, first of all, parents have to be better parents. They have to stop raping their children and things like that. That would help a lot. But again, I said we should get rid. They're making fun of this Republican guy for saying getting rid of the Department of Education. So I agree. I think there shouldn't be. It just makes things worse. All these bureaucracies. People have to take responsibility for themselves, and I think this goes back to my whole political philosophy, which we're going to get a lot. We're going to get into in a lot in these videos, in these future videos. Again, Baltimore Hourly, my long talked about Baltimore newspaper online, is going to come out. You're going to hear things like this that are very different than what you hear. I mean, you're used to the Democrat versus Republican paradigm, where it's this little war, and you can't like the other side, or else you're a Nazi, or so. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, so in Baltimore City, you see, since it's a one-party system, you hear like what people think about Republicans, that they're these Nazis or something like that, and that their policies must be absolutely brutally insane and oppressive. But I mean, look at the policies of the Democrats in the one-party system in Baltimore City. It's absolutely insane. And just look at the school system. Look at what's going on out in the streets. And I've been on the West Coast. I've seen it's a little bit different out there. I hope you all travel. I actually was in Vancouver for a while, a beautiful place. So I've gained some more experiences. But I mean, again, I'm already a very lucky person. I've traveled around much in my life, a lot in my life. So I've seen lots of different ways of living, and I've been very lucky with my education to being by, and my past jobs. I've been working with very intelligent people, and so I do see things from a little bit of a different perspective, a little bit more worldly of a perspective than a lot of the politicians in Baltimore City. I don't think have ever traveled outside of Baltimore City, except when they live in their houses in the county. That's their big travel. So again, this election might be a little bit closer. They're ripping on Larry Hogan already. VoteMD.info. Visit BaltimoreHourly.com. Spread the word.